We up and I'm feeling like a new me. Stacking new sets, some new E. NFTs, all of them you need. Back in my zone like 2-3. All time high, hit a new peak. Let's go. Homie, the Bulls is back. I said the Bulls is back. Cheer, cheer, yeah.
GM and welcome back to the channel. In this one, we're taking a look at some altcoins that look quite bullish from here in terms of some chart setups plus some fundamentals. We've also got some gaming coins to look at as well because Becker is about to shill them, and this could be the start of some form of gaming run with some big releases coming as well. So if you enjoy the content today, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and let's jump in. So Bitcoin is at 35,400 bucks. On the log chart here, you can see the fun is yet to begin. We haven't had our big parabolic move up as we do each cycle, and it does seem like things are starting to heat up here, but we are still yet to have the main event. So I know there's quite a bit of FOMO on the timeline, etc., but there is still a long ways to go and plenty of fuel in the tank for this one. So don't be too pressured by FOMO if you are not allocated at this point in time. So 35,400, the dips have been quite shallow. People were calling for dips yesterday. And again, there seems to be quite a bit of a dislocation between the timeline getting a bit euphoric, the bears, over small moves down, a few $100 here or there, versus the actual outlook for Bitcoin here. It's still pushing up. 35K is very much bullish. So Becker is starting to pump the bags in terms of crypto gaming here. He says, look, I've said it all bear, but crypto gaming is going to have the big moves. Bouncy, juicy, 2 a.m. dirtbag gains to come. He says 99% of retail doesn't even know what crypto game is. So stay tuned for this week's video. So he has promised a video, potentially today, Wednesday, but it could be as late as the weekend, I guess. And if you want some insight as to what he may cover, because I really do think a lot of these charts with this bullish posturing in the market, with gaming coins generally ticking on up here, whatever he covers, I think is going to get sent. So at a minimum, a potential for some short-term gains to be made to just capitalize on what he covers. This was 4 months ago. His video titled, "These Tiny Meta Crypto Coins Will 50x by 2024. As you can see, he hasn't been publishing much content whatsoever. And if you go through this, I think he names like 15 coins. I did actually condense this down on my channel to some of the main ones. So if you want to go to my channel and type in Becker's picks, you'll see me breaking down the various coins in here for a bit more substance. We're starting to see some big announcements come out from various teams as well. This is Aurori based on Solana. They're going through their Q4 releases and what is coming up here. Seekers of Cocaine is their game coming out. Dev update within the blog post if you want to give that a read. This one's quite an interesting one. Of course, straddles the Sol narrative, which is quite strong right now. Plus, they have a low market cap, 27 mil, and tons being built out. This was one of the games he did actually shill in the previous video as well. So Becker probably has bags in this. If you look over the last 24 hours, a bit of a markup here, maybe people catching wind to this, and it is in a nice posturing here. But when you zoom out to max, these cryptos in the gaming sector got absolutely wrecked. So this is probably why there's such a massive potential for these to run so hard, because they've given away so much ground. What is this down? 97% from all-time high. Whether it can get back to all-time high, I really have my doubts around that. But things can get super crazy in this category because it's a category that just normal folks would be willing to get involved with and can see the value proposition for. Selling people on DeFi protocols is quite difficult, but everyone knows what gaming is. So Aurori one to have on tabs. Illuvium here, potentially this is one that could spark the gaming bull run because this could have actual mainstream adoption, AAA quality by all accounts, and you've probably seen some of the trailers for this. It does look pretty insane, to be fair to them. So we're starting to see this slowly get rolled out. There's some visuals on screen for you if you want to check it out. Have a little flick through on Twitter. But this was coming from Kieran, one of the Warwick brothers, the co-founders of Illuvium. Not sure if many realize, but we have 1.5 million people who have registered over the past 3 years, and we've only given access to 40,000 of them. But that is going to change this month in November. As you can see, some pumpamentals here for Illuvium. But property prices in Australia set to increase here. 10 hours ago, the Illuvium team deposited 65,000 Illuvium tokens, 4.34 million into Binance after the price jumped 90% since 20th of October. So will they sell now, or are they just positioned those ready to sell at a later date? Not 100% sure there, but it is quite amusing nonetheless. And just to get you in on the joke there, Kane Warwick, founder of Synthetics, is the brother of Kieran. And there's a lot of banter online about how many properties those boys have bought in Australia. That is where they're from, as clearly they've made a good few bags in crypto land. 65 bucks ILV. If we just again zoom this one out to max, you can see absolutely destroyed through the bear market. If it does produce a game that is widely adopted, I don't see any reason why we can't start running to these kind of levels in here. There has been inflation during this time frame. Whether or not I can even get back to 2K, I think that prices it as something absolutely incredible. Doesn't that put a like 18 bill market cap? Probably a bit of a ways off from there, but nonetheless, crypto gaming definitely catching a bid here and definitely a sector to be watching for. It looks like the bottom is in. Now, another Solana play here looking pretty good is Neon EVM. So this is an EVM environment. So you can literally bring your EVM based dApps. So developers on ETH could come and plug and play on Solana and then take advantage of the high transaction throughput and very low cost environment of Solana. So this is a bit of a narrative play, but just looking at this from a fundamental perspective here, the token for this launched in July, so this last summer, but it doesn't have a lot of circulating tokens. As you can see from this, 1 year lockup for early purchasers, key partners and advisors. Potentially they've had some of the tokens, but then they will be vesting some others. A minimum 1 year lockup for the ecosystem development, 1 year lockup for the founders, 1 year lockup for early contributors. And so the main tokens here are the public sale, which have already been released at 5%, plus the ecosystem treasury there at 23%. That is obviously going to be utilized. But as a basic approximation, maybe around 10% of total tokens are actually circulating at this point. So Tina had posted the chart on this one. It does look super bullish. So low float, has a good narrative. Sol plus EVM sounds pretty cool. And that chart looks ready to send. So moving on to Asian markets here, look on chain here. There is an Upbit conference, which is a large South Korean crypto exchange. Their conference on November 13th. That is next Monday, as you can see from it down here. What they've put together though is a load of coins that are trading on there, saying these might get sent. What they've seen in the markets here is that Korean won pairs have been going quite vertical. A lot of the big pumps coming from Korea, which is very interesting. They do like to ape into tokens. And highlighted here are some of the tokens, i.e. Astar, that has a BTC pairing on Upbit, but no Korean won pair. And so what they're saying here is if the Korean won pair does get added, as they would kind of expect, maybe these do have trading pairs listed during this phase. So from November 13th, look out for announcements on this front. Maybe Astar is in a line for a listing. 300 mil market cap. It is an alternative layer 1 ecosystem, Polkadot based, but again, they're trying to tap into EVM. I did a full narrative breakdown on this one as well, because the Japan narrative is very much aligned with Astar's values, and they have some very prominent partnerships. Sony and the likes of the actual Prime Minister of Japan is bullish on Web3, and I believe Sota, the Astar CEO, has his feet under the table there. So this is quite a small market cap for a token that has the potential to do very well in a major region of the world. You can see it does trade against Japanese yen on Bitbank. It is on Upbit for the BTC pair and has Bitmart pairings as well. These are quite Asian focused exchanges. We just pull up the chart though on Astar here. It launched in the bear market via the Polkadot parachain. So it has never seen an actual bull market, and the key significant level above here, which it's been below this kind of price region for over 500 days now, is around the 10 to 11 cent region. So I think it has bottomed here and is starting to work its way out. And that first major resistance around 62% away. The Polkadot parachain period has ended, that 2-year lease. And so the token emissions from that have also ended as well. So I don't really see why this wouldn't start to trend up generally. And that is kind of the TP1 level for me. The news over at Kujira just yesterday was a airdrop that took place. So if you stake your Kujira tokens, there have been in the past many projects that are launching on top of the Kujira chain, distributing at least some of their tokens to the Kuji stakers, real ecosystem buy-in there. And this was actually a really cool one. So I just tweeted out yesterday, 4-figure airdrop on a cold Tuesday afternoon. Pretty wonderful, not gonna lie. This is because NSTK is the ticker. Unstake launched yesterday, and they didn't distribute just a percentage of tokens to Kuji stakers. They gave every single token to Kuji stakers. So this is the chart of the token here, NSTK, Unstake Finance, currently trading at 4.8 cents, 69 million tokens, I believe it was, distributed. I think this is somewhere in the region of like a 3 mil market cap. You'll have to check my maths on that one on the spot here whilst filming. But this one has launched. There was an initial markup and a bit of a dump as well, as people obviously just got some free tokens. Makes sense, cash some in. But as you can see, this looks not too bad of a chart at this point. But what the heck does this do? I think you can get the TLDR from the name Unstake Finance and from this up here. Essentially, it is utilizing Ghost. So Ghost is pretty much the Aave of the Kujira chain. It is one of the native dApps on Kujira. It's a borrow-lend market. You can deposit funds and take out a loan against them, or you can lend your funds out to others who wish to borrow and make a yield on top of them. So just a basic lending market. Funny enough, Aave is Ghost in Finnish, and Ghost, of course, is Ghost in English. So what Unstake Finance allows you to do is, say you've got some tokens that have a long staking lockup. For example, the Kujira token takes 2 weeks to unvest. So say there's an emergency, you need some liquid funds ASAP, but all your tokens are actually locked up in a staking contract. Maybe you haven't got 2 weeks to wait and you want to get those tokens liquid as soon as possible. You could come to Unstake Finance. In the background, they would then use Ghost to actually allow you to take a loan against your locked up or staked tokens, and thus you'll be able to get liquidity as soon as you need it. They've got calculations on the actual costs to doing this and that kind of stuff in here. We haven't seen this go fully live as yet, but sounds really, really interesting. They're going to launch things with Kuji and of course Manta, but there's loads and loads of coins that can be listed, Atom, Osmosis, loads of stuff across the cosmos, and I guess even further afield than that. So really interesting. They're using strategies based on the Kujira chain itself, going to be a very much net positive, and they just gave a full distribution to Kuji stakers, which is pretty damn wild in my opinion. Kuji Eco does have its own page on here now. Not everything is listed on here, but as you can see, some of these tokens absolutely ripping up. Kujira is over $2.50. Kuji is clearly seeing parabolic growth still at this point in time. So we'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, smash a like on the video, comment me down below as well, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.